In Cuba, as part of his tour through Latin American countries, the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi arrived in Havana on an official visit. In Argentina, 60 days before the simultaneous and mandatory open primary elections known as PASO, which precede the presidential elections, contesting parties form alliances. And a delegation of the International Atomic Energy Agency, headed by its Director General Rafael Grossi, arrived in Zaporizhzhia to inspect the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Hello from the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. This is from the south. I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada, and these are the news. On Wednesday, as part of his official tour of Latin America, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi arrived in Havana, Cuba. On his arrival at the José Martí International Airport, President Raisi was welcomed by Foreign Minister Bruno Rodríguez Parrilla, and on Thursday morning he is expected to meet with the President of the Republic, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez. During this stay, the distinguished visitor will hold talks with Cuban authorities and carry out activities of interest. Cuba and Iran are united by fraternal ties that have endured for almost 45 years since their re-establishment on August 8, 1979. The ties between the two nations are deeply marked by the imprint of the historic leaders of both countries, Fidel Castro and Ayatollah Khamenei. And the presidents of Nicaragua and Iran announced on Wednesday the signing of important agreements between the two nations. The announcement was made at a press conference held by both heads of state in Managua during the official visit by the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi to the Central American country. President Ortega informed that 3 memorandums of strategic importance for both nations had been signed. According to Nicaragua's Vice President Rosario Murillo, the agreements provide greater opportunities for fraternal development, solidarity and social justice based precisely on scientific and technical cooperation. The Nicaraguan president talked about the will that both countries have to talk about topics of interests.
We are here, and it is very clear within these subjects that there is the will. There is the will to talk about the subjects that are already deal with.
The Nicaraguan head of state also thanked the Iranian president for his solidarity with the peoples of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua.
And you in this occasion have come here to express your solidarity towards the people, towards these brave people as Venezuelan people, the people of Bolivar, the Cuban people, the people of Martí, Fidel, Raúl, and now with the President Miguel Díaz-Canel and the Nicaraguan people. Thanks, dear President. Thanks to your people. Thanks to your brave people. Thanks to his people.
Moreover, President Daniel Ortega stated that the visit of Ebrahim Raisi is a visit that moves the hearts of the peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean.
As I was saying yesterday, we recognized your visit as a visit as a visit that is very moving to the most committed people in the fight for sovereignty and integration of Latin America and the Caribbean.
During the press conference, the president of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, stated that the resilience of the people has had a significant importance.
There have been military interventions, and as well the threats, the sanctions are the measures that it use in order to pressure the sanctions. But the persistence of the people and the search for independence, for freedom, neutralizes amazing stop and setback.
The Iranian president also mentioned some of the areas of cooperation in which they can exchange.
And we have made big steps in Iran regarding health. We have excellent experiences regarding this, and we have personnel. We have personnel with a great expertise in the subjects, especially in the pharmaceutical issue area. We believe that this would be one of the areas in which we should have good cooperations and interchange with you.
The residents of the province of Esmeraldas affected by the rains traveled to Quito to demand the attention of the central government. The peasant communities of Esmeraldas denounced on Wednesday the neglect of the part of the national government and the local authorities. The peasant leaders indicated that they were not received by the Minister of Transportation, to whom they asked for a solution to the situation. Those affected by the rains claimed that the commitment to repair the damage caused by the rains has not been fulfilled. The citizens warned that the deterioration of the roads in the peasant communities makes shipping and the production of fish and vegetables difficult.
We have come here to demand the government, to demand the Minister of Public Works to attend to the destruction that exists on the Tonchingue Galera King San Francisco Road, which is totally collapsed and does not allow the population to live. 4 days ago, we have the death of a 13-year-old boy due to dengue fever who couldn't live because we have nowhere to go out. That is what we have come to denounce, to visualize, but unfortunately we are living without any answer.
In Ecuador, precisely, the president of the Unions of Farmers Organizations of the province of Esmeraldas, Nancy Bedon, pointed out that the roads destroyed by the rains generate roadblocks that cut access to healthcare services and stop fishing and agricultural production.
The damaged roads, the collapsed bridges mean, first, that we can go out for medical emergencies, that is, we can die. Second, we can get our production out. The fishermen can get their production out. The farmers can get their production out. The tourism activity where we women live, we do a little community tourism to make ends meet, is also affected. We don't have access to doctors, to health centers, to teachers, to schools. That is, we are totally abandoned.
And in Argentina, 60 days before the simultaneous and mandatory open primary elections, known as PASO, which precede the presidential elections, alliances have been formed. The ruling coalition Frente de Todos, the front of all, is now called Unión por la Patria, Unity for the Homeland, and the opposition alliance Juntos por el Cambio, All Together for Change, keeps its name. Gerardo Morales, the president of the Unión Cívica Radical, one of the parties that make up Juntos por el Cambio, informs that the coalition was maintained. Juan Schiaretti, the governor of Córdoba, has been discarded. On the official side, with its new denomination, stated in a first statement that they agreed to unite to recover independence and protect the working class. The Justicialist Party accepted the proposal of Alberto Fernandez in a hard statement. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find the news in different formats, news updates and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Russian President Vladimir Putin met on Wednesday with the Cuban Prime Minister Manuel Marrero Cruz. The meeting took place in Moscow as part of the official visit of the Latin American high official to Russia. During the meeting, Putin and Marrero Cruz talked about bilateral relations as well as economic and humanitarian cooperation. The leaders stressed that relations between Moscow and Havana are developing despite the complexities of the current situation. Moreover, Putin affirmed that the Russian side will do everything possible to help Cuba to overcome the illegal sanctions imposed by the West against the island. Also on Wednesday, the president of the State Duma, or lower house of the Russian parliament, Vyacheslav Volodin, ratified to the Prime Minister of Cuba, Manuel Marrero Cruz, the unconditional support of the legislative body to the Caribbean nation. At the meeting, Volodin ratified that the deputies of the Eurasian giant, regardless of their political positions, are opposed to the pressure of sanctions on sovereign nations orchestrated from the West. And the 26th International Economic Forum opened on Wednesday in the Russian city of St. Petersburg and will run until June 17th, with the participation of delegations from more than 100 countries from all over the world. This year, the main theme of the forum is sovereign development, the basis of a just world. Let us join forces for the sake of future generations. According to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, its central event, as is traditional, will be the plenary session, which will be attended by the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Interest in the forum is growing despite attempts by the West to isolate Moscow. Now we move on to other topics. On Thursday, the delegation of the International Atomic Energy Agency, headed by its Director General Rafael Grossi, arrived in Zaporizhzhia to inspect the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. According to reports issued by Russian authorities, the checkpoint of the city of Energodar was passed without incident. Russian authorities also confirmed that Grossi and his team have already started the field inspection. Grossi met on Tuesday with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and delayed his trip to the plant by one day for safety reasons. This is the third visit of Grossi to the nuclear power plant since September 2022. The International Atomic Energy Agency presented to the Ukrainian President an assistance program in view of the reduced water flow in the Kakhovka reservoir next to its own ponds of cooling after the dam was blown up more than a week ago. And the president of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, is on a 6-day state visit to China. Besides signing several agreements with the Asian country and meeting the Chinese president, the Central American head of state met the president of the New Development Bank, Dilma Rousseff. The details direct from Beijing with TVT journalist Mauro Ramos.
First time in history, a president of Honduras traveled to the People's Republic of China. The state visit came less than 3 months after the two countries established diplomatic relations. Honduras broke off diplomatic relations with Taiwan and recognized the existence of a single China in March this year, reducing to 13 the number of countries that have no relations with the Asian country. During the visit, the Honduran government confirmed its willingness to join the new Silk Road and Economic Integration and Development Initiative launched 10 years ago by Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two governments also reached a consensus to start negotiating a free trade agreement.
I appreciate this historic opening of relations with the People's Republic of China and its people as President of Honduras. I recognize only one China, that led by President Xi Jinping. Its progress and the development of its people, as well as the leadership in the world, promoting the initiative we have adopted. Aware of the great challenges to reduce asymmetries and build peace so necessary to redefine the course of humanity.
Me gustaría darle la más cordial de las bienvenidas. Usted ha cumplido resueltamente su promesa electoral.
I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. You have resolutely fulfilled your election promise to establish diplomatic relations with China, taking a historic decision that demonstrates strong political will. Your husband, former President Mr. Zelaya, also played an active role in this regard, something I greatly appreciate. History will remember your contribution to China-Honduras relations.
La historia recordará su aporte a las relaciones entre China y Honduras.
In 2008, the year before the coup d'etat in Honduras, the President Manuel Zelaya had expressed the possibility that his country would establish diplomatic relations with China. At that time, Costa Rica was the only Central American country that had adhered to the One China principle. During this tour, both governments signed 17 agreements, including several protocols to facilitate Honduran agricultural exports, especially coffee. Honduras is the fifth largest coffee producer and exporter in the world. According to the Honduran Coffee Institute, small producers growing coffee on farms of up to 5 hectares account for 95% of the total.
In 2021, China became the 16th largest importer of coffee in the world, $497 billion in coffee imports. This could change Hondurans, giving them an opportunity to position themselves in the Asian continent.
In the first part of the state visit to China, Xiomara Castro met with the president of the new development bank, Dilma Rousseff, and formally requested Honduras' entry to the banking entity. In a visit to the Tiananmen Tower, the president of Honduras remembered journalist and activist Ramon Amaya Amador, a member of the now-defunct Communist Party of Honduras. Amaya Amador was the first Honduran to visit the People's Republic of China in 1952.
Desde Pekín en China, de la TVT de Brasil para TeleSUR, Mauro Ramos.
TeleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries using StoreSat. Dial 461 and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcast. One final short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The governor of West Darfur State and the head of the Sudanese alliance, Khamis Abdullah Abkar, was killed on Wednesday, 2 months after the start of the armed conflict between the Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces in Khartoum. Khamis' assassination came 2 hours after a telephone interview with Al Hadath TV in which he accused the Rapid Support Forces and the Arab armed militias of killing civilians in the capital city of West Darfur State. In the interview, the regional representative appealed to the international community to intervene and protect civilians, stressing that the Sudanese army and the joint forces of the Darfur armed movements were unable to intervene to protect them. Soon after, the sources reported his arrest by the Rapid Support Forces following his television statements. On Wednesday, the death toll from a Nigeria riverboat disaster rose to 106 people as rescue teams searched for survivors after one of the country's deadliest waterway accidents in years. The boat, carrying around 250 passengers traveling from a wedding ceremony, capsized in the early hours of Monday, June the 12th, in north-central Cuba State, police and local officials said. The accident was the latest boating tragedy in Nigeria, where river capsizes are common due to overloading, poor safety, and heavy flooding in the rainy season. And the government of Egypt has applied to become a member of the BRICS group comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. According to the Russian ambassador in Cairo, Georgy Borysenko, the request was issued given that one of the initiatives currently being carried out by the BRICS is to convert trade to alternative currencies as far as possible, whether they be national currencies or the creation of some kind of common currency. The official explained that Egypt is interested in such an initiative, with a view to reducing its demand for dollars. And we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please join us on social media for all the latest news. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm your anchor, Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.